Everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and today I'm here to bring you my in-depth review for Diablo Immortal. So I have gone ahead and beat the game. My main character is at level 60. Got about 5 Paragon levels. I've joined the Shadows. I've tested out and at least got my feet wet in every type of content that the game has available, and I'm ready to go over all of it with you. Now, in a nutshell, what is Diablo Immortal? Well, it is a AAA, super polished, I will basically call it an MMO light action RPG. The campaign for it that you can play solo with other players is actually quite large. I would put it on par with Diablo 3. The quality is really solid. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cover the big elephant in the room right off the bat, and that is the question about its level of pay to win. So I will basically say it like this. There's going to be 3 types of people that are going to play this game. If you are a free-to-play player and you don't want to spend a single dime, you can play actually the entire campaign. You can participate in the vast majority of the content, just not at the highest level. If you don't care about being cutting-edge PvP, if you don't need to be at the top of the leaderboards for the dungeons, you are going to have an absolute blast in this game. If you're somebody that's looking to kind of dab your feet in the game when it comes to buying microtransactions, spending anywhere between $20 and $60, so between an early access title and a full AAA game, I think you're going to get pretty good value here. You're going to get some boost, some quality of life elements that'll help you kind of get geared up a little bit more effectively and so forth. And I think, again, you're still not going to be able to really get to the very highest end of the content. Now, because the whales are going to be a small percentage of people, you can probably participate in mid-level leadership boards, mid-level PvP, and have a good time. And I think you will be happy. Now, if you're somebody that needs to be the top of PvP, the top of the leaderboards, prepare to whale. And I may have some bad news for you, because this game may have some of the highest whaling requirements to be one of the top 1% or higher of any mobile game. Estimates have said it may take upwards of $100,000 USD to max out a full set of gear. And so for the top whales, this is going to be very, very expensive. And so if you have whaling tendencies, or if you're kind of addicted to these elements and maybe you're not a cajillionaire, be forewarned. There's a big, big pull for that if you want to be top 1%. And if you don't care and if you're rich, well, maybe this is just right up your alley. Just know it's going to be a considerable investment. So with that out of the way, in this review, I will go in depth and cover all the major systems of the game. I'll show you kind of how everything is in line, in addition to kind of reviewing the graphics, etc., etc. So in order to make this easier for you to take in, I'm going to have timestamps, so do take advantage of those. If you have any additional questions, do leave them in the comments below. And of course, if you appreciate this in-depth content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when my latest videos drop. That being said, guys, let's go and take a look at what I think overall and in depth of Diablo Immortals. Alright, guys, so I want to start out really quick with accessibility. Diablo Immortals, almost at the 11th hour, announced that it was actually going to be coming out not just on mobile phones and tablets, but also on PC. And I have played this game on both PC, both on my iPhone as well as my iPad. You can play with controller support for your iPads. You can have controller support for the PC. Now, with an Xbox controller, I tried it on my computer. It didn't seem to react that well. For me, I had some issues. I actually really enjoyed the mouse controlling, especially for the PvP elements when I played. But overall, when I'm playing PvE, I actually really enjoy playing it on my iPad. When you play like on an iPhone or an iPad, the targeting system kind of snaps to enemies, and that kind of makes it easier for kind of farming and speedrunning. But overall, I feel it controls pretty well across all of the different systems. Now let's talk about graphics, sound, music, and overall presentation. When it comes to graphics, as you see here in the footage, this is a AAA title. It is extremely high quality. It is on par with Diablo 3 graphics, I would say. The audio, the sound effects are great. The music has a mood to it, but you're gonna kind of lose it in the background. It's not anything that really stood out to me, but it all sounds fine. The voice acting is phenomenal. Now, I did notice not everything is voice acted. Certain random lines, and even by some major characters like Deckard Cain, seem to randomly not be completed. So I don't know if they just didn't finish them in time, or it was intended. Not everything was being voiced, but the fact that about 90% of the conversations do seem to be voiced with your interactions, I found that a little surprising. In addition to this, the different animations, whether it's your summons or your spells and abilities, they all look quite excellent as well. And what's kind of nice about it is the spell effects are nice, but I didn't find them too overwhelming, which is good, because unlike previous Diablos, you are going to have situations where you have way more players in an area at the same time. You could have 4 players in an area, you can have 8 players in an area. There are actual raids in this game, and also it can get kind of overwhelming visually on screen with the battlegrounds, which are the PvP, because these are 16 player skirmishes. So a lot of stuff can happen at the same time on screen. So lots of particle effects, etc. But because the particle effects weren't too overdone, in my opinion, it's still all manageable, and I didn't feel like I was going to have a seizure at any time. All right, now let's talk about the classes you get access to in this game. And what's really nice is this game comes with more classes at the start than any other Diablo. So it's cool, for example, you have the Barbarian, and you do have both a male and female version. They actually have different little intros, as you can see here, which is pretty cool, right? So you got that class. You got the Wizard, again, both male and female. So that's pretty cool. Representation. You can customize what they look like, even though you're mainly never going to see their faces once you get a helmet. You have the Demon Hunter. Pretty cool. You got the Monk. You got the Crusader. And then my personal favorite and main character I play as, and that is the Necromancer. And so, all this comes for free. I wouldn't be surprised if they add more over time. Lots of variety right off the bat. All right, next let's talk about the campaign. And the campaign, I really actually enjoyed it. It takes you from level 1 all the way to 60, although I will tell you, if you just go straight through the story and don't do any of the side activities along the way, you are going to kind of get to a point where it'll say, oh, you need to reach a certain level before you can unlock the next story area. So for example, I started getting this at level 35. So I think it was like level 32, 33. I finished the story and told me, hey, hit level 35. So I did that, did a little bit more story, and I kept running into that little bit of a roadblock. Was it a little annoying? Sure. Was it the biggest deals? No. I spammed some dungeons. I did some of the special different side events, etc. And it wasn't too bad. The main campaign, I would say, is maybe 20 or so hours long. It's going to probably take you between 20 and 35 hours, depending on how much side farming you got to do and what kind of character you have. Certain characters definitely farm EXP much quicker than others. So that's something to keep in mind. What's also nice is there is a variety of different areas you're going to go, a variety of different biomes. So as you can see here, you start out in West March, Wardham, you're going to get kind of like that dark cemetery vibe, the woods vibe. You're going to be going to the desert. You're going to be going up into the mountains. You're going to go into the frozen tundras. So lots of different biomes. It all looks really, really good. The enemy design is excellent. There are tons of different enemies you're going to run into, tons of different bosses. And the story, again, while nothing groundbreaking, it's very Diablo-esque. So if you like the story in Diablo 3, for example, you will probably like this. The story does happen, it looks like, between what happened in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. So Diablo 3 has not happened, Diablo 2 has happened, so the World Stone has been destroyed, back up in like Ariat's Rest, and you will get to see the fallout of all of that, and I found out really, really quite fun and quite exciting. Now what's also nice is once you finish with the campaign, you're going to be able to go up in difficulty. So you're going to unlock this feature here, game difficulties. So at first you're going to start with normal difficulty, everything is going to, has level ranges. But then once you beat the game, you get to unlock Hell 1. And what's nice is now all the enemies when you go into Hell 1 around the world are going to be level 60. Also, really cool new feature is dungeons will start dropping item sets as long as you play with 2 players or more. Now, it's very, very easy to get groups together. There's basically like a built-in group finder where it'll automatically start a match with you. But you can also just go in one of the chats and tell people, hey, anybody want to join on this? And you can invite them straight from the chats, and then they can teleport to you, or you can queue up. It's very, very easy to connect together. Very, very easy, very user-friendly. And there is a big tail. There's lots of kind of progress to work through. So I mentioned Hell 1, which is going to get you through Paragon 1 to 60. And we'll go over the Paragon system here, but it's kind of a after max level progression. But you'll notice it goes all the way to Hell 5 here. And like Hell 5, for example, is level 240 to 600 Paragons. I am, for reference, Paragon level 5 right now. So lots of progress to go through. You're going to get, it's going to unlock better loot in the dungeons, better loot types, higher drop rate chances, and of course the content is going to get much, much harder as well. Now what I also like about the campaign is it unlocks all the features very, very slowly. In fact, even when it comes to your gear, you're going to see here on my character screen, you have your main pieces of loot here on the right hand side, 6 pieces from helmet, chest, and so forth. You're going to have your jewelry on the left, and then you're going to have your charms in the upper right hand corner. You do not even unlock the charm slot until level 56, even though it's kind of weird that they start dropping earlier in the game, so you're going to have them sitting in your bags for a while. So it really eases you into it. At first you're just going to have normal gear, then it's going to introduce the being able to add gems. Both kind of basic gems. So basic gems are kind of like these that will just increase your damage, increase your health, etc. And then also legendary gems. And so these choices of what gear you equip, what legendary gems you equip, and then what normal jewelry and normal gems equip will help you customize your character. There's also a full level of cosmetics that you can apply. They're all pretty cool. Some of them you're gonna get, for example, if you just joined. Some of them you get that you can purchase with real money and other ways as well through promotions, etc. Now, in addition to the gear options, you're also going to automatically unlock a variety of skills when you level up. Now, you don't have to do anything special with this. You don't have to buy these. You don't have to upgrade them. Just as you level up, you'll unlock things, and they will also individually level up. So your choices are going to be choosing between one of 2 of primary basic attacks. So I'm a necromancer, for example, so I get to always choose between a bone spear or soulfire. What's nice is you can change this almost anywhere, almost at any time, instantly. There's no respecking cost or anything. It's super, super easy. And you're also going to unlock a variety of skills as you level up. You're going to be able to pick any 4 of these. So as you see here, I'm just scrolling through here. For necromancer, I get bone armor, bone spike, bone spirit, bone wall, command golem, command skeletons, corpse explosion, corpse lance, dark curse, grim scythe, skeleton mage, and wraith form. So while it may not be as many as, like, say, Diablo, it's plenty. Also, you're going to notice that they each have a baseline way of functioning, but you may find legendary items that will alter these, and they can be dramatic. For example, one example is the skeleton mages. Baseline, they kind of summon, you can summon up to 2 of these stationary mages, which are perfectly fine, but you could upgrade it to, you get this basic like blood mage and he's got a giant scythe and he follows you around but has a longer cooldown instead of the stationary ones. So that's one example. Or your golems, you can get different golems. Your base one jumps around and stuns, but you can another one that absorbs corpses to be more powerful, or one that's molten and does AoE damage constantly. So there is quite a bit more variety than you would think in this. Again, may not be quite as in-depth as Diablo 3, but I think people will be really, really happy. Alright guys, next let's talk about some of the quote-unquote services you'll get access to. You will get access to a blacksmith. You don't have to do anything to upgrade them like Diablo 3. But you'll have 3 things you can do. You can salvage gear. It's super easy. You can manually do it. There's buttons on the bottom that you can salvage all normal or blue or epics. Now, any of the legendaries you have to manually do. What I also like is if you have any items in your inventory that are part of one of your loadouts, it will warn you, hey, this isn't a loadout. Are you sure you want to destroy this? If it's a legendary and you haven't absorbed the power of one of the legendaries yet, it will say, hey, are you sure you want to destroy this, or would you like to instead absorb the power? So it has a lot of fail-safe, so you don't accidentally destroy things the game may think you may want to keep. A major part of this system, and this is something that can get a little expensive, is the upgrades. Now, what you do in this game is you do not upgrade individual items. You upgrade the slots. So this is a head slot. You'll notice it's a rank 4, and because it's a rank 4, it gives me +8 intelligence, 8 and vitality. And it's going to progressively cost more materials to upgrade and gold. And this is the same for all of the main slots, and then there's also for the secondaries. So this, for example, this necklace is level 0. You can see kind of the cost, 25 of these enigmatic crystals and some scraps here. But to go from level 1 to the next level, now it's 50. So it can scale up quite a bit. This is a long-term kind of commitment. But once you do this, even when you replace your gears in that area, those slots stay upgraded. So this is for the lifetime of your character. You can also do rank transfer. So for whatever reason you wanted to transfer all that you've committed the points from one to another, you can do that. Now next you have the Jewel Crafter, and the basic interface allows you to take any gems, whether it's legendary gems or your basic gems, and you can upgrade them. You can craft them if you have the materials straight up, or you can even craft some of the legendary gems, which is nice. But what's really nice here is you can easily upgrade these basic gems. So here, for example, you have a gem that increases potency. If you have multiples, they're going to combine to get more powerful ones. It'll give you little notices when you have the materials to potentially upgrade this, so that's really nice. And your legendary gems can also upgrade. And FYI, this is one of the areas where it can get really expensive eventually to upgrade these gems of the various qualities. So this is where the whaling comes in. Now you don't need to do this. You get some baseline gems that are pretty good, but if you absolutely want to milk the gems, get them to the highest ranks, and they go up to rank 10, it can get quite expensive. You basically use other gems or gem particles of gems that you can find to upgrade. So for example, this Fervent Fang, it only had cost, I believe, it cost 5 to go from rank 1 to 2. But let me give you an example. I actually got lucky and I got a tier 4 out of 5 gem. These are very, very rare. But if you take a look, upgrading it from rank 1 to 2, this costs 50 of this. So this could literally take 50 level 1 gems just to level up once. And it gets worse and worse. So you can see how this can get really, really expensive if you want to max out, for example, all your gems and make all of them tier 10. That's where it can get absolutely nutty. And you can kind of see some of the upgrades. Their resonance doubles, your combat rating doubles here on these high level ones. So there is a significant power increase, unfortunately, and it is part of the pay to win. There's also another feature for jewel crafting that I did want to show you here. It is basically the gem resonance. Most people will probably never see this, but basically when you go in here, if you get any of your gems to rank 10, it is going to allow you to basically unlock more potential from it. And it's going to cost a Dawning Echo, which costs real money. And this is, again, for that high-end top 1%. Your goal would be to get all of your legendary gems to rank 10, awaken them. Then you're going to be able to put in extra legendary gems into your gear, and it just kind of increases your power exponentially. So this is, again, for the min-maxers, for casual players and in-betweeners. You're probably even never going to look at this, and you're probably never going to need it for the things you're trying to get done realistically and for the money you've put into the game. All right, next you're going to get access to somebody called an Essence Transfer NPC. Forge. And what's really cool is that every single legendary in the game has unique power, just like in Diablo 3. And so you can kind of see in advance what the items are and what kind of buffs they have. And some of them are small, some are big. So, for example, this helmet, your skeleton champions are replaced with skeletal archers. What's nice is you can extract these. So it only costs 3,000 gold. If you have this helmet, let's say a lower level one, and you want to extract the power, it will delete the helmet. But now what's really cool is you can go to any of your current legendary pieces and apply that. So let me give you an example. Here's my chest piece. I can click Inherit, and I can select any of my legendaries that I've unlocked. So maybe for a PvP set, I want my bone armor to grant me and my allies 5 charges of damage immunity. Or maybe I'm playing a build that uses Wraith form, so generates corpses as you move during Wraith form. So this lets you customize your legendaries even more. And again, it's also a nice way to see what all the legendaries are if you're wondering. So it has them all listed here, nice and easy. Now, other minor systems I did want to mention, there is a gambler. So it's called Rarities and Antiquities. You can go there, and for money, you can get random items, and they, of any slot, and they could be blue, they could be yellow, they could be legendaries, etc. So it's a gambling effect. There is a full market, the Hill Trader. I haven't really used it, but you can put items up for auction, and people can buy it from you. So that's one way to buy and sell different resources in game. Any legendary items you find in the world, they come unidentified, but it's really nice. You just find an identifier. You find them in most cities. You just click on it and it'll auto-identify you. There are no identify potions or scrolls in this game. You just go and you click this. Doesn't cost anything. Easy peasy. All right, now let's start talking about some of the systems. So we've already talked about the campaign. And when you're running around the world, there's actually kind of a random quest that will pop up, almost like community quests, shared quests that will come up on timers and they'll give you random loots. You can actually find hidden dungeons that will pop up, and there's a limited time that you can find them and jump in, either solo or in a group. And then when you get to town, you will also get access to something called the bulletin boards, the bounty boards. And so this will allow you to basically take up and accept up to 12 bounties. It unlocks an extra 4 a day, I believe, but it can roll over multiple days if you don't log on to play. And these are ones that you do, and they're going to give you EXP, they're going to give you gold, they're going to give you random equipment, and they're also going to basically work towards your battle pass. And we'll discuss that actually right now. So when we talk about systems, all these different activities, whether it's killing random enemies in the world, the different elites, the different uniques, doing these concerts, or etc., they're going to feed into requirements for your battle pass. And so there is a free battle pass and a paid battle pass, and it's going to rank up. Now, what's really cool is in the upper left-hand corner here, you're going to have everything that is current. So right now I have I have 3 left of these quests that I can do from the bulletin boards. There will always be a featured activity. Right now it's Helliquary, we'll go over that. But it may say bulletin boards, or it may go and say dungeons, etc. And whatever is highlighted, if you do it, it's going to give you extra points for doing that activity at that time towards your battle pass. So it's a nice way to kind of push you to diversify. You don't have to do it. It's not make it or break it, but it's a nice touch. Now, next let's talk about rifts. And there's 2 different types of rifts, Elder Rifts and Challenge Rifts. Elder Rifts are basically very similar to the rifts in Diablo 3. You can run them without any crests. And these are basically just dungeons and baseline. They'll give you a chance at rares or legendaries, EXP, and something called Fading Ember that's required for purchasing runes and crafting legendary gems. So it's very, very important currency. But you can modify these with crests. And there's 2 different types of crests, rare crests and legendary crests. Rare crests you can get in a variety of ways in-game. You can also get them through purchasing through real money, normally as part of packages. Legendary crests, on the other hand, are almost exclusively gathered through in-game purchases of real money, but there are a couple the game does give you as you experience the game. Now, what happens when you add one of these? Well, what it does is adds modifiers to you and the monsters, and it also increases your drop rates. You get more XP. If you do one of these legendary quests, you are guaranteed to get some form of legendary gem. Now, gems come in 1-star, 2-star, or 5-star variants, and so this is the only way to get the 5-star variants. If you do these rare quests, it's not 100%, it's actually only a 10% chance of getting a legendary gem, and it can only be 1-star or 2-star gems. So again, if you want the best gems in the game, you are going to have to get these legendary quests. You can put up to 3 of these. You can stack them in here if you want to kind of maximize the modifiers, etc. But you do have some diminishing returns when it comes to fading embers. So it's kind of up to you. If you're a free-to-play player, remember that you can just run these without anything else if you just want to farm them, if you enjoy these, but you can also use gems. Now next we have the challenge rifts, and these are kind of cool. You only basically do these one time. Well, you can do them multiple times, but you get a unique reward every single time that you complete a new one. They get progressively harder, they give you nice rewards for loot, and also at different specific tiers, they are going to increase the quality of your overall tiers. And I believe it was level, I want to say 14 or 15. I forget off the top of my head though. But right when there was the first time, it actually says, hey, complete for the first time, and now you're going to get better drop loots across the board. So these go up quite high, and obviously eventually you're going to kind of hit your ceiling for your gear level, and you're going to have to get better gear level in order to keep continuing. But this is nice. It's a great way of getting EXP and loot as you level up. And again, you can do this at any time once it unlocks. Alright guys, next we have the Helliquary. And so this also gets unlocked through the story, and these are basically raids. We've only have currently, as of this review, 1 out, and there are different tiers of them. It'll give you a recommended kind of rating. And again, you can queue for a random raid, or you can queue of your warband. And these are quite difficult fights, but what they're going to do is they're going to give you loot and also access to what's called the Helliquary system. We'll take a look at this. So very, very kind of large scale. As you can see here, more of these will be added. So first time ever in Diablo game, raiding is a thing. They're a lot of fun, and you're going to get some good loot with it. Now, as I mentioned, it comes with the Helliquary system. So it's going to be right here under your menu. And when you click on it, what's going to happen is you're going to unlock it initially, and you're going to start with 1 tier of it. And when you in story beat your first boss, you're going to get this first trophy, and you're going to be able to apply it, and it's going to give you kind of bonuses as you hear. So that's kind of nice. And then you're going to be able to get materials, these Hellforged Scoria, that you're going to be able to basically create at the blacksmith, and you're going to get extra slots. And as you beat different bosses, like when you beat that first raid boss, you get this item, and this item here gives you 30 combat rating, but when you're in challenge rifts, you get an extra 10% attack speed. As you can see here, I upgraded it again, and I have another slot, but I haven't killed another demon because no more raids are active yet. And eventually you're going to be able to unlock, as you can see here, 2 more. Now there's going to be more than just 5 raid bosses, so eventually you're going to have more of these than slots, so you're going to get to pick and choose what you want depending on what your character kind of wants, what kind of stats it's looking for. Now the next system I want to go over with you guys is the Paragon system. This is what you get access to once you're level 60 and you go into hell difficulties. And this is really cool. When you first start, you get access to two different trees, the Vanquisher and Survivor. And you can get these points. You can respec them. Basically, I believe it is, 1 free reset per week if you need to. And you get these circle, basically, ones that are passive buffs that stick around no matter whether you end up selecting these, because you're going to eventually have a limited number of these that you can kind of focus on. So they're either going to be ones that are active at all times, or these square ones will only be active if you actually have this selected as one of your active trees. So for example, this one's going to have buffs to your damage, to your potency, inventory rows, your life, You may have a proc like this. Each monster you defeat, your attack speed increases. And then this one, for example, Survivor, as you can imagine, more defensive. So life buffs. For every 10% of your missing life, you take 1.2% less damage. And you can, put more points into some of them than others. So it has these themes, and there's a lot of them. So some of these, like Treasure Hunter, you have to get at least Paragon level 50 to unlock. Same with Gladiator, and it keeps going. So there's also 2 more here that you get once you unlock Paragon 150. So this gives you lots of customization for lots and lots of playing after you hit level 60. Alright guys, and now we have one more system. It's called the Iben Fahd's Sanctum. It's something that, again, is going to be introduced to you at the very end of the game. And what's going to happen is you're going to do certain things in-game to unlock these vessels. And so initially, the story is going to have you unlock one. You're going to place in one of these, and they're going to give you different buffs. And so, for example, this one gives you potency and resistance. Here's one I unlocked that gives you life. Here's one that gives you more damage, armor, penetration armor, and so forth. You're going to be able to upgrade these with these gems that you're going to get in a variety of ways. That gets explained through the game. And then any of the vessels you haven't found, I'll tell you exactly how to do it. So here it says, defeat the Sandstone Golem, Hell 1 difficulty. Here's one, defeat the Ancient Nightmare. Here's defeat Lord Mantanos on Hell 1. So eventually you'll get all of these, you're going to be upgrading them, and it's just another type of power progression for you. Now next I want to talk to you guys about systems that let you group up with other people. You have something called the Warbands system. And this is not really a guild. It's more like a little groupings of people that can be a group of up to 8 people. Anybody can create this. And if they join you, you can, just the easy way to communicate, you get your own channel. And this is good if you have a couple of real life friends or people that seem to play at the same time. You could be in a shadow guild that we'll talk about in a second, and also one of these at the same time. So that's kind of nice. And speaking of the shadows is a huge system that you actually have to either be invited to or you have to win a lottery to access. And I actually have a full-on video explaining all the elements of the shadows. Do check that out. But in short, it's a whole progress system. These are the people that are going against the Immortals. There's a ton of activities you can partake in. And you can also join what's called a dark clan. And a dark clan are basically guilds. And so you join here, they rank up depending on how much activity that you have, and then the top clans are going to be able to compete against the Immortals at certain parts of the month, basically. So that's the main focus of that. And then if a dark clan does really well, it could basically have the main people in the guilds face off against the top Immortal players. And if the top Immortal players lose, well, then the people in the dark clans become the new Immortals. So it's this yin and yang of this game. And speaking of yin and yang, I did want to quickly mention the Immortal system. Notice there's no tab for this here. The Immortals are basically the most powerful, the most prestigious characters in the game. Currently, it seems like there's instructions on how you could basically take them over. But bottom line is, these people are going to mainly be the super whales, because they're going to have to defend against all the dark clans. There's going to be a ton of pressure for them to partake in particular activities. I did make a whole video going over that. It's called, why some people may spend $100,000 in this game. Do check it out for details. But I'm not going to go in depth on it here because, again, it's only going to apply to 0.001% of the population. But again, it does play a part of this back and forth between the Shadows and the Immortals. Now, in addition to having the clans, etc., the warbands, the guilds, this game also has a phenomenal party finder. So you can actually go under party finder and see who's kind of looking for, you can basically create posts looking for people for dungeons, for zones. But what's really nice is you don't even have to do that most of the time. You can just go into any activity and there will be a button that's called Find Party. And so it will auto try and match people that queue up. You can also go and chat and ask people. And then if they want to, you can click on their little portrait and invite them to the group. So the whole ease of use for grouping up with people is phenomenal in this game. All right, next I want to talk to you guys about some of the really cool quality of life features in this game. They are amazing. So there is a navigation system. And because this is on mobile, if you played other action RPGs on mobile, you may have heard of this. It's basically a feature that you can click on something or a location and it will auto make you walk there. So here, for example, if I click on a Helliquary, it's going to auto navigate me there. If I was in a different zone, it would teleport me to the nearest teleport and then run me there. Do note though, this doesn't make it so this game is on autopilot all the time. You do not unlock the autopilot, the navigation for a region until you've completed it. So for example, if I go and I first get into Wortham, this zone right here, I don't get, or actually that's probably not the best example, like the cemetery region here. When I first get here, I cannot auto-navigate. But once I finish the zone, and normally that's by beating the end game dungeon, in this case, Mad King's Breach, you beat that dungeon and it'll say navigation unlocked. At this point, you can basically, from the map or through quest icons, click on things and it'll auto-navigate you to wherever you want. Obviously, at any point, you can break the navigation because you can navigate through areas where there's enemies that could jump you, so you can obviously de-navigate. So that's a really, really nice quality of life element. You can even do that where I can say, hey, I want to go to, take me to over here to the armory, navigate, and you can go in your inventory and mess with your inventory, swap things around, and when you come back, hey, you're still auto-running, saving you time. Really nice, really easy. Next really cool little quality of life thing is the auto loot feature. I wanted to point this out because some people don't know about this. Under general, if you kind of scroll down, what you're going to find is there's auto pickup items. Eventually, or initially, I had it all auto pickup. I hate clicking on loot. The only thing I want to have to click on is legendaries and sets. So eventually you can disable whichever ones you want. So now I don't really care about the normal loots. It makes my inventory fill up too quick. So I don't pick those up, but it's up to you. But do note they are on default to off. I recommend turning them on. Save you a ton of clicking time. All right, next I want to talk to you guys about the armory system, and it is phenomenal in this game. So you can go here and for free set up different loadouts. Now this will save your skills, your armors, your gems, etc. And here's the beautiful thing. Let's say I'm using a chess piece for PvE and I save it here, but then I go and I put a different enchant on it. I put a different gem in it for PvP, for example. I come over here and I save that under PvP, right? Well, now when I go to switch by just clicking activate, it will actually swap everything over, meaning I don't need two pieces of loot for the same thing. It will for free instantly swap over to the gems I had, swap over to the enchants I had. It's not going to charge me for any of that. So you can have multiple loadouts and on the fly swap however you want, and any of these elements can be changed, and it's literally not a big deal. What's really cool too is if, for example, you try and swap over and a piece of loot is no longer there, or it says your current piece of loot that you equipped is better than this, it asks you, do you want to swap over or not? Here I've made some big upgrades since I last went in here. So you'll notice, hey, this piece is missing, so I need to kind of update this. But it gives you warnings for everything if there's something off of your setup. Very super easy. I think most people mainly use it to swap between PvP and PvE gear, or if they have different builds, because they're going to reuse different sets of items, different gems. This is a feature. Don't sleep on it. It's going to save you so much time. Absolutely love it. And again, it's completely free of resources to use. All right, another quality of life feature that can almost go unseen is this little button here at the bottom of the screen, bottom right-hand side under your character, under your inventory. If you click on this icon, it has recommended builds. So each character has 3 different build recommendations. For example, this is the chain reaction, so there's a PvE build. For Necro, it kind of shows how it plays. It tells you what skills are used for it. It tells you what legendary pieces you'd want to get. You can click on it. It'll tell you exactly, for example, what they are. You can even click how to get. So it tells you defeat enemies, complete dungeon. So, I mean, some of it's kind of simple, but you can click on it and it'll take you wherever you need to be if it's something specific. Whatever legendary gems you have. Now, what's nice is once you unlock the skills when you're leveling up, it'll highlight that. And then once you collect the legendary loot, you'll highlight that. Same with gems, it'll give you recommended gems. And then finally, the recommended secondary set. So yes, this game, once you're above level 60, does have set bonuses. Since you're dealing with Grim Scythe explosions, and you're going to have buffs that relate to that. Damage based off your movement speed. So that's pretty cool. Another example here is the general. So this is the build I like, the summoner set, and so this is about just getting lots of pets. And they also have a PvP one. So this is really good for beginners to intermediates, even potentially advanced players. So every character has this. It's easily accessible, and it's a really nice quality of life feature. And the final quality of life feature I want to really point out, because I absolutely love this, is the feature here when it comes to the item interface. I'm going to move my camera real quick here. Is because every piece of loot, you're going to be able to interact with it so easily. And it'll even kind of give you a warning like, hey, there's something you can do here. So, for example, I selected this neck piece and I click here and it says, oh, I can remove this upgrade gem, upgrade item. If I click upgrade gem, it will literally run me over to the jeweler where I need to go for this. Or if I'm in a different zone, it'll teleport me to the nearest jeweler. And there I am right next to him.
Hello. How can I help?
Services, and I can go and upgrade my gems. So this is all from within your inventory. It is so easy to work with your inventory, do all these complex upgrades, all these changes. Most of it costs little or no resources. They make it so easy on you. It works really well. Obviously on a mouse and keyboard, it's super easy, but it's also quick and easy on iPhones, on iPads, etc. It is just so user-friendly. Now that I have this, I don't think I ever want to go back to a more clunky interface. Phenomenal A+ interface. All right, and finally, I want to talk about the shop, basically the in-game purchases and the leaderboards. So I will say, if you're a free-to-play player or somebody that's trying not to be too competitive, I would just stay away from the leaderboards. You go here, it shows people, there's different leaderboards for challenge rifts, who's gone the highest, the shadow rifts, the standings for the shadows, the battlegrounds, these are PvP ratings, etc. Oh my god. Guys, I just realized I am rated number 3 on my server. For PvP, I have a 60% win ratio, apparently. Bronze 3. This is this shouldn't be. I'm a free-to-play player. So right now, this can happen. That somebody like me just clicked on this and I didn't even realize I was top 3 on the server. Woo woo. This is not going to be like this for very long. Because eventually, I mean, I'm not a whale, per se. I'm decent at PvP in this game, I like to think. But I'm not that good. So, you know, generally speaking, if you're super competitive, unless you really want to whale, this can give you more headaches than not. But they have that, for example, and then also have ratings for Warbands, and this is mainly for the weekly challenges, who cleared the different raids as quickly as possible. So this is kind of a cool little feature. Now, this all feeds into the final area that we're going to look at, and that is the eShop. Now, there's a bunch of different categories, and I'm going to tell you the things that I personally purchased and what I recommend. Now, under services, there is a battle pass, and I actually think this is worth it. The battle pass only costs $5, and it gives you access to a bunch of extra, basically loot. So you're going to get this free battle pass on top, but you're going to get extra gems for crafting, these S-print keys for opening these special chests, etc. So it's all stuff that can help you progress. Sometimes it's going to give you some crests, it's going to give you emotes, etc. So for $5, this is a pretty good value. I highly recommend this if you're going to be playing this more than just super casually. Now I do want to point out there is this Collector's Empowered Battle Pass that gives you some extra cosmetics, but mainly it's a way to kind of boost you to get ahead. So this is useful if you're falling behind or you come later on. You don't want to have to grind as much, but it costs $15 total. Or if you buy the normal pass, you know, you can upgrade to $9.99. I don't think it's really worth $10 in my opinion. Next, you have the Boon of Planet Elite. This is the second thing I did purchase. It's $10 for 30 days, and what it basically does is it gives you daily login rewards that are decent. They're different crafting materials. On a 5 days, after 5 days, you get a legendary crest. And a legendary crest, for example, I believe is $2.50. So that right there is already quarter value. You get other benefits. You get some extra inventory rows. You get access to the auction house, basically, remotely from your inventory, and get more access slots. So it's all quality of life stuff, but it also gives you tremendous value for $10. So if you're going to be kind of playing this on a regular basis, I like to think of the Battle Pass and the Boon of Plenties as must-buys for somebody that wants to get good value. And I think of that like paying a $15 a month subscription to World of Warcraft. This is a living, breathing game that's going to have lots of content added to it, I'm sure. So that's the way I look at it. Now, there is also something you're going to unlock later in the game. You're not going to get access to level 1, but it's called the Prodigy Path. Now, what this does is automatically, starting with 45, when you get access to it, you will get some materials and eventually access to free legendaries, and eventually, even later on, sets. But if you spend $20, you get a really good value. 400% is actually one of the best, if not the best value for legendary crests you can get. And so you can $20 one time and you get access to all these crests as you level up. And you're also going to get Scoria. And Scoria is what you're going to use at the blacksmith to get the Hellfire Scoria so you can upgrade your Helliquary. That was the whole interface I went over related to raiding. Is this necessary? No. But if you're going to be playing this a while and you think that you're going to eventually max out level 60 and get at least to Paragon 85, and remember, you can get 600 plus Paragons, and this is probably the best $20 you can purchase. I haven't done this yet, but I probably will, because this is a really, really good value. Now, next, you're going to find these special bundles that are going to be named after each dungeon. And so every single dungeon, when you beat it, it's going to try and sell you these little packages. And they're always going to have some internal orbs, which is like the currency for buying like cosmetics and the keys directly from the shop. You're going to get legendary crest and then the basic crests. And they're going to start really cheap, like 99 cents, and at a really, really good value, like I think 300 or 400%. But then you're going to notice, you go to these higher dungeons, they're definitely weaning you onto these. It's a little sneaky, very sneaky. So they start at 99 cents. I bought both the 99-cent one, and I think I bought one that was like $3 or $4. But now I haven't bought the other one. So there's another one for $6.99, $9.99, $19.99, $29.99, $49.99. And so they're bigger. They're not as good of a value. And I think they're really there for the people that want a saving compared to buying them strictly. But they're realizing, hey, we got you in kind of deep, so we're not going to give you as good of a deal anymore. So they're definitely the pushers here. And not as big of a fan of this. I think I would have to be... I'm still okay with this if I was hardcore into this. If I end up playing this, 40 hours a week, I might do this. Next, we have just straight up buying crests. I don't recommend this. This is where the true whaling comes from. We're talking about getting $100,000 into this. You're going to mainly be buying legendary crests because this is the only way to get those 5-star legendary gems that you need to basically put into other legendary gems to power them up. And it's basically this 160 is roughly $2.50 US. And you don't even get a discount when you buy 10. So buyer beware. This is ludicrous. Now, under bundles, I do want to point out here under bundles that they are going to always have a free daily reward. So this is how they get you to come in and look at it, but you might as well grab it. It's very minuscule. So if you don't really want to be tempted to buy anything, I would say almost avoid this free daily login one because it's really meant to just have you see this. It's like advertising for these sales. Now, cosmetics, I will say the cosmetics look really, really cool. So, for example, they cost 1,000 Scroya here. So I think 160 is 250. So these are not cheap. You can buy them so I got them for 540 from different packages. And do they look awesome? Yeah, they look really, really awesome. I won't lie. Some of them are less awesome than others, but there's definitely a variety of them. They're going to add more and more of them. There's collector versions apparently. So yeah, you want to make your guy look really cool? Well, there you go. Then we have materials. You can straight up buy certain materials. These are the ones for the various types of crafting. I actually haven't used any of these reforged stones yet. It's a more advanced feature. I didn't even like mention it because I haven't dabbled with it. But again, if you want to spend real money on this, this is again going to be mainly for the whales. And you can also buy the Dawning Echo. This is the thing I mentioned to unlock your rank 10 legendaries, which again, most people will probably never do. But there you go. This is where you buy that. And then we have the currency. Again, in order to buy these crests that the whales are going to be, buying, this is where you buy the currency. And we're talking about 6,000 gems is $100. This is where you go in deep. This is where you max out those credit cards. Be careful. I aim to never ever see the screen. And then you can also buy platinum, and platinum you buy with those resources. That use it for certain purchases on the market and specialty vendors. So again, and you basically buy this with the eternal orbs that you buy with real money. So there you have it, guys. Final closing thoughts overall. What do I think of Diablo Immortals? When I first jumped in, I had heard so many bad things about this game, about pay to win, that I almost did not give it a shot. But to be honest with you, I'm glad I did. Again, I've spent a little bit under $20. I was able to play the full game. I was able to win the Shadow Lottery. I'm in a fun guild. We're killing a bunch of stuff. Somehow I'm miraculously number 3 on PvP on my server for now. And I'm getting great value out of my money. I believe I could have had pretty much the same amount of fun at free-to-play. Now, I'm one of those players that's moderately competitive. I'm not as competitive in raiding and PvP like I used to when I was younger. So I don't really have the same draws I used to whale when I was younger before I had a wife and kids. But warning to those that either feel like if you hate pay to win, just based off the fact that it's pay to win, you may stay away. If you have an addiction to pay to win games and you tend to rack up credit card debt, etc., I would say stay away. But if you're somebody that's looking for a nice meaty Diablo game, either for free to play, or if again you want to spend between $20 and $60, so that's like either between an early access and a full release game, well, then I think you're in the right place. This game is going to have lots of support. I'm sure they're going to add extra classes, lots more raids, more content. So it is likely to have a very, very long life is my prediction. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about this game? Do you like it? Have you tried it out? If you did, let me know in the comments below. Did the pay to win scare you off? Are you okay with it? As always, like, subscribe. That helps the channel tremendously. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of all my upcoming videos. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video.